Hi Flashes, so today we are going to be talking about inequalities and reviewing some inequality problems. So these first three are talking about one-step inequalities, so let's review. So remember, solving inequalities is the same thing as solving equations. So you're always trying to isolate the variable by itself and using steps on both sides to get it there. The only thing that's different from equations compared to inequalities is instead of the equal sign, you now just see the inequality sign. And the other thing, the main thing to remember is when you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip your inequality sign. So when you multiply or divide by a negative, flip the sign. Okay, so let's look at number one. So just like solving the equation, we need to move the constant that's on the same side as x. So we need to move this 15, and to move it, you're doing the inverse operation. So since it's subtracting 15, the opposite of subtracting 15 is adding 15. So you will add 15 to both sides, and notice that your 15s will cancel because that equals 0, and you're left with x. And remember, it's not equals anymore. It's not equals anymore. You have to bring down the inequality symbol, and then 13 plus 15 will give you 28. All right, now for the graphing. So remember, whatever answer you get, that's the number that goes in the middle. And then you can go ahead and fill in the numbers to the right of it and to the left of it. So these are just numbers on the number line. So 28 was our answer. To the right would be 2930, and then to the left would be 2726. Okay, so at 28, remember you are either going to have an open or a closed circle. So in this case, we are going to have a closed circle at 28 because of that equal to line. So that equal to line means that it can equal 28, which means that we want a closed circle so that we can include 28. Okay, and then if we want all numbers greater than or equal to 28, all numbers greater than or equal to 28 are to the right of it. So you just need to draw an arrow that's pointing to the right. Okay, number two, so same thing, you want to get the variable by itself. So we need to get rid of this -7. Right now, x and -7 are dividing, so the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So multiply by -7, multiply by -7 on both sides. So that then all that you'll be left with on the right side, because these -7s will cancel, is x. However, notice that we divided by a -7, and what did I say up here? When you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip your inequality sign. So since I divided by -7, I need to flip my inequality sign. And I always tell my students to do it first. As soon as you see that you're dividing by or multiplying by -7, you need to flip it right away so that you don't forget. Okay, and then just plug this in your calculator. So 12 times -7 is going to give us -84. All right, so now we're going to graph it. So -84 was our answer, so that's the number that goes in the middle on the number line. One number to the right, since I'm on the negative side of my number line, remember that I have to think backwards. So this would be -83, -82, -85, -86. And then will this be an open or a closed circle? There's that equal to line, so that means that it's going to be closed. And since my variable is on the right hand side, I can flip-flop these if I really want to, but if I flip-flop them, I also have to flip my inequality sign as well. So let's just say I want to do that real fast. So that now this is a little bit easier to read on which way my inequality is going to go. So if I want all numbers less than or equal to negative 84, all numbers less than negative 84 are to the left of it. So my arrow should be pointing to the left. All right, next one. So I have a fractional coefficient. So if I want to get that fraction over to the other side, remember all that you have to do is multiply by its reciprocal. So reciprocal means that you're just flip-flopping these numbers. So to get rid of that fraction, I just multiply by its reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 3 over 4 is 4 over 3. And just remember to do it to both sides. So that then I get x is less than, and then 21 times 4 over 3 gives us 28. Okay, so graphing it, so 28 is in the middle, then we have 29 and 30, and then to the left will be 27, 26. Open or close circle at 28. Well, it's going to be open this time because it does not have the equal to line, so it cannot equal 28, so we do not want to include it, so that's why it's open. And then if we want all numbers less than 28, all numbers less than 28 are to the left. So those were one-step inequalities, okay? So pause the video if you need extra time, but now we are going to move on to two-step inequalities. So same thing, two-step inequalities, you're solving these like basic two-step equations, and then just remember when you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip that inequality sign, okay? So first step, we always want to move the number that's on the same side as x, but it's not attached to x. So in this case, we want to move the 6. So since it's subtracting 6, the inverse operation of subtracting is adding. So our first step would be to add 6 on both sides. So your minus 6 plus 6 will cancel. You have to bring down whatever is left. So the 2x is left, so I need to bring that down. Bring down the less than sign, and then 54 plus 6 will give us 60. And then we still need to get that x by itself, so the 2 is attached to it. So right now 2 and x are multiplying, so the opposite of multiplying would be to divide. So that then our answer is x is less than, and then 60 divided by 2 will be 30. Alright, so let's graph it. So 30 is our middle number. Then it'll go 31, 32, and then 29 and 28. And then am I going to have an open or a closed circle at 30? It will be open because it does not have the equal to line. And then if we want all numbers less than 30, all numbers less than 30 are to the left of it. All right, next one. So number 5, the first number that we need to move first is this 3 because it's on the same side as x, but it's not attached to it. So since it's adding 3, the opposite of adding 3 is subtracting 3. So my plus 3 minus 3 will cancel because that equals 0. I have to bring down everything that's left. So I get 4/9 x. Bring down that greater than sign, and then negative 39 minus 3 is positive 36. And then our last step is to get rid of that fractional coefficient. Remember, to get rid of a fractional coefficient, you multiply by its reciprocal on both sides. So the reciprocal of 4 over 9 would be 9 over 4. And again, you need to show steps on both sides. So did you see I subtracted 3 on both sides and multiplied by 9 over 4 on both sides? Make sure you do it on both sides. Okay, so now we're going to be left with x's, bring down that greater than sign, and then positive 36 times 9/4 is going to give me 81. Okay, so 81 is my middle number. I need one number to the, or sorry, I can go ahead and fill in all the numbers. So 81, 82, 83, and the opposite way would be 80 and 79. So open or close circle at 81. It will be open because it does not have the equal to line, so it cannot equal 81. And then since I want all numbers greater than 81, all numbers greater than 81 are to the right of it, so my arrow will be pointed to the right. Alright, and the last one, so same thing, always move the number on the same side as x but not attached to it. So in other words, that is the constant. So the first thing I need to move is this minus 3. So the opposite of subtracting 3 is adding 3. So minus 3 plus 3 cancel. I have to bring down this whole entire thing. So x over negative 11 is greater than or equal to, and then 2 plus 3 is 5. And then that last step is I need to get rid of this negative 11. So since the x and the negative 11 are dividing, the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So I should multiply by negative 11 on both sides. And then as soon as I saw that I multiplied by a negative, I remember that I need to flip my inequality sign. So I go ahead and do that first so that I don't forget later. Okay, so again, I multiplied by a negative, so I need to flip my sign. Okay, so then we're going to be left with x is less than or equal to, and 5 times negative 11 is negative 55. So when I go to graph it, negative 55, negative 54, negative 53, negative 56, negative 57, because remember your negatives go in the opposite direction. So are we going to have an open or closed circle at negative 55? It will be closed because of that equal to line. And then if I want all numbers less than or equal to negative 55, all numbers less than it are to the left of it. Alright, and the last thing on this page is I am going to translate the verbal expression into an algebraic inequality and then solve and graph the answer. So let's just read it first. So this says the difference of twice a number and 10 is at least 20. So the first thing I see here is the word difference. So remember, difference means that we are subtracting. So it's the answer of a subtraction problem. So we are taking the difference of twice a number and 10. So when we say twice a number, well, twice means 2, and then of a number, of means multiply, and our number is just going to be our variable. So really, this is 2 times x, or in other words 2x, and then we're going to subtract it, because that's what the difference means, from 10. So this is going to be 2x minus 10. So that takes care of this whole part right here. So the difference of twice the number and 10, twice the number minus 10. Alright, next I see is the word at least. So at least is representing my inequality. So I know what inequality this is because when it says it has to be at least 20, that means I can be greater than 20. That just means at least means I have to be able to get to 20, but it can be greater than 20. So whenever I write down 20, my gator mouse should not be opening up towards the 20 because that means that 20 is my biggest number. But if it says that it has to be at least 20, 20 is actually going to be my smallest number. So my gator mouse should be opening up towards the other side. And then if it has to be at least 20, it can equal 20. So that's why I have the equal to line. Okay? So let's solve it. So first thing I need to do is move this minus 10. So the opposite of subtracting 10 is adding 10. I'm left with 2x is greater than or equal to 30. And then my last step would be to divide by that 2 on both sides. And I get x is greater than or equal to 15. So whatever your answer is, that's your middle number, and you just need to fill in the rest of the numbers. And then it will be a closed circle because of the equal to line. And then if I want all numbers greater than or equal to 15, my arrow should be pointing to the right. All right, so that's it. So just let your teacher know if you have any questions.